Hello again. In this episode, still metal work. It is not gonna be done even in this video. I think there is so much to do, but it is what it is. In the last episode, I finished the driver's side floor panels plus the inner fender and also moved to the engine bay area. And as you can see, the workplace has rotated in this side of the car. So now it's time to do the same for the passenger side. Yeah, I moved all the stuff in the other side of the garage and cleaned the floors and drove the loader outside. And at the same time, I removed some snow and parked the loader in the other side of the car. And then I just pushed the stuff back in position. It is easy because every table and machine is on wheels, so you just roll it. The engine bay looks like this. In the last video I finished that support beam, so that side is done. And after that I finished the firewall. This is some kind of water passage, and there is a seal, like a rubber seal for the hood, and the seal is attached to the frame with some kind of like C-shape or U-shape metal bracket, and that bracket was like completely gone. There was like only a few centimeters that you could see the shape what it used to be. So I removed that all the way. So in the driver's side there was little patch that need to be done in the upper side, but other than that this is still good. And at the lower piece I needed to make like 30 centimeters repair parts. So first I cut all the rust parts out and made 3 identical like 30 centimeters sheet metal piece that I bend it to 90 degrees, and then I used the stretcher to have this curve in them. Then I fit the lowered part to the holes and drove the other line for this small hinge. And this was a little tricky because this is like second bend in the metal. So I used the bead roller to make it like little start, but the rest I just needed to hammer it against some steel. And I think none of them like came perfect at the first try, so I needed to little bit bend the 90-degree back and move it a little bit, so after that it started like warping like hell. So they took some time to finish them, but now they are done. And this is pretty tricky place to like grind the welds off. So I'm not sure how they look after some paint or primer. But I was thinking if they don't look good, I'm gonna put some kind of like bitumen soundproof isolation thing to this after the paint, so it looks nice and maybe reduce some engine noises. But actually we don't want that because the inline 6 sounds so good. Now I need to start working with the passenger side, but luckily this is so much easier because this beam, for example, is complete. There's nothing wrong with it. There is only little hole in here, like in the corner, and as you can see it has been like done before. So I think I'm gonna remove all these small patches and see what's under them. This upper part I think I'm gonna leave because there's this holes for the hinges, so I'm not gonna worry about that upper side, but just need to like make this little more pretty, and of course this vertical seam I need to make it completely out of new metal, because at least this side is completely gone. The other side there, this is not that bad, but there's still a few like holes, so we will see if I'm gonna make it like one big piece or. And I also vacuumed the sand out of this side, because the sand that is used in the sandblasting, it goes everywhere. I don't know how it can be that much sand in there. And it's pretty tricky to remove, because you cannot put the vacuum hose in every places. So you need to use the compressed air, and after that the sand just goes everywhere again. So you need to do it like many times. But I think I got them all out from this side. So after the inner fender, I'm gonna replace the floors and also this piece of the floor. I'm gonna leave this like it is and just cut this open from the other side and replaced all these. This is already like being patched, so after I remove it, so I might need to do something for the inner parts also, but we will see. But let's get on with it. The engine bay compartment is getting almost done. The passenger side is already been taken care of. the small hole inside here is patched, along with the inner fender. This is now completely patched. I made it like it was in originally, so there's like seam in here and it is spot welded back on. And the inner side is also completely done all the way from the top to the floor. After the paint, I still need to put some sealant in the seam to make it like really waterproof. And as you saw, I ended up doing this fender support new like in the other side, because it was quite bad in the top here, so now it's the same in the both sides. I still need to patch few small holes in the front that I saw that there was like small holes or big craters, so you know that there is too much rust in those areas. I used the drill to make the corners and then cut the edges with the angle grinder. Now I just need to make patches and welded them on. And I was looking my pictures of the car, because there's so many small holes in here along the fenders. So I think at this side I can just weld them and grind it off, because they were mostly like for the wiring loom. But I think I'm gonna make it like new the whole way, so I might not need them. And if I do need some kind of like a bracket for the wires, I can just drill new one. So at this side I'm gonna make them go away completely. On the driver's side there's also a few holes that I don't need. For example, this one, I'm not sure what it was for, but these two, there is a bracket for the windscreen washer fluid, and I think this was for the brake module, and these two for the brake lines. The brake lines go from here to the other side of the car. The firewall also has some holes that I might not need, but I think I'm gonna figure out that later, after I figured out if I'm gonna use the Volvo V40's air condition. This hole is for the heater valve, and these are for the hoses for the heater core. So all these might be blocked, and maybe drilled some new ones. And these are for the windscreen fluid. They're actually hidden because it is put in here, and the nozzle is inside here, so you don't see it. So it looks like visible. I think this was for the acceleration mechanism, and some of these were for some kind of wires, but I think I'm gonna block at least few of them, but let's see this one later. After I finish this engine bay, I'm gonna move to the passenger side floor. And the first thing I need to do is repair the support beam under it, because it's pretty bad shape. There is quite a pile of rusted metal removed. Now all the rusted panels are removed and there is quite a large hole in here. I even had to take a section out of this beam corner. In this section there's like 3 sheet metals compressed together. There is this outer one and then this inner beam wall and also this section continues all the way to this line. And after that the floor panel is just spot welded and not like angled anymore. So I ended up removing the support because otherwise there is no access in here. But luckily it's just few spot welds, and after you remove those you can just take it out. Yeah, now I have to start installing some fresh rust-free metal. Now the first piece is done and welded. The inner corner of this beam, I made it out of straight sheet metal. Just used the old piece as a like template. It wasn't too bad, but there was few odd shapes in it, but one step at a time, and here's the results. Now I can start to make the floor piece back here. The cross support is back on, welded to the frame, because there was so many rusted metals behind it, so I had to take it out just to like repair everything. And it was pretty bended and rusted. I had to replace the top section. This is made from like 2mm thick steel, so I used 2mm steel to repair it. It is still a little bit like bended, but much more straight than it was. It was like really bad at the beginning. Now it's welded to the frame from the ends, and I think the next step is to spot weld the floor piece to the frame, and after that just weld all the seams like 100%, and then keep going to the side beam, repair the inner stuff first and put new fresh floor panel in it, and after that to the rear section. All 4 floor panels are now replaced and rust-free, finally. Solid steel once again. So now the car has been done like from there all the way back to this section. Still need to do the rear, but I think most of the rust repairs are done. At least like if you think like the area, because these were quite big areas. So I'm happy with the results. I'm not sure are these repair panels like for Volvo 140 or 240, because this shape is different than the original 164. And for example, in this side, this like shape is different from the original. And also these grooves, these didn't exist in either of these rear floor panels. I had to like made it little shape in there. And this is little weird shape. It is like pretty, like the angle is different in here than here. So I'm not sure like what is that for, but it doesn't really matter. I think the car is gonna work anyway. On the floor it's gonna be like carpets, you don't see them. And under the car I'm gonna put some kind of like thick rust proof like stuff. So I think I would like to try to get rid of this. It is not that bad anymore after the weld, but it seems that this area could like be better if I try to shrink the metal. So I see if I can try that. Next I'm gonna move to the rear. There are not like too big places, but there are like many, and they are somehow like, and they might be like complicated after I start removing the bad metal. So I really need to like sit down and think how to like proceed with that. And I think that if I want the wheel fitment to be like good, I might have to modify the inner wheel, the inner fender. And for that I need to install the rear axle and the wheels in the car to like really see. And I want to do it when the body is in the grill. But I'm afraid that the weight of the rear axle is like too much for now, so I'm gonna put some kind of support in the middle and also some kind of support for the rear axle that I can like lift it and move it. But before that I think I'm gonna do all the rust repairs in the rear that I know that needs to be done anyway. So the rust repairs will continue in the next episode as well. But after that I'm gonna start doing some modification that I need. But I'm happy with the progress. Big improvements have been made. But I'm gonna end this episode in here to keep you guys like updated. And rust repairs in the next episode. Once again. See you then. Bye.